4 high schools, 7 middle schools, 1 college, and a university, and much more. Now introducing your most comprehensive weekly local sports show in Madison County, the Richmond Register Sports Show. The Richmond Register Sports Show is brought to you by MetroNet, superfast internet, simply a better connection. Total Comfort, heating and air conditioning. Let Total Comfort keep you cool or warm this winter. Call for service or for a free replacement quote. Wynn's Auto Detailing Service. And by kymedia.net, digital media solutions on your terms. Here's your host for all things local sports, the Richmond Register sports editor, Nathan Hutchison.
Welcome to this week's edition of the Richmond Register Sports Show. My name is Nathan Hutchinson. I'm the sports editor of the Richmond Register. We very much appreciate you tuning us in this week. Coming up in just a few minutes, we're going to have Madison Central running back Brady Hensley coming off his 5-touchdown, 323-yard performance on Friday night in the Indians' big win over Paul Lawrence Dunbar in the second round of the Class 6A playoffs. He'll be here to talk about that and give us a little preview of the matchup with Ballard this weekend up in Louisville. But before we do that, we do want to start off the same way we start off every week's show, with a recap of the week that was in Madison County sports. And we got to start right there, of course, with Madison Central picking up a 45-42 win over Dunbar on Friday night in the second round of the Class 6A playoffs, moving them into the region championship game for the third time in the past 5 years. And as I just mentioned there, they will be playing Ballard on Friday night up in Louisville. So Indian fans, hit the road, head up to Louisville if you want to check out the region championship game this week. But this was the fourth time in the past 441 days that Madison Central and Dunbar had played each other. Madison Central had won all of the previous 3 matchups. And there was definitely a bit of animosity out there between these two teams, as you might expect, playing each other that many times in that close of a span together. But both teams just back and forth, punching. And in the end, it was Central had a 3-point lead, Dunbar driving late, needing either a field goal or a touchdown to either take the lead or tie the game. And Madison Central's defense came up with a 4th down stop with a little bit over a minute to go to pick up the win. But as we mentioned, Brady Hensley, 5 touchdowns. That ties his school record, which he had last year also against Dunbar. And then he also had 323 yards rushing. Also a new school record, which his previous record, he broke his own record, which he set last year against Dunbar. So there's a little symmetry there, I do believe. But 89-yard touchdown catch for Jaden West as well. Hagan Harrison had a touchdown pass at quarterback, and it was a slobber knocker. It was a lot of fun, and it is Madison Central moving on to the region championship game. And afterwards, here's Coach Mike Holcomb's thoughts on the big win. Central coach Mike Holcomb, and man, your defense had to come up with one big stand there at the end. Dunbar had rushed for a lot of yards on them all night, but when it came down to it, they bowed their back and made a game-saving stop there.
Yeah, well, that's what happens this time of year. But everybody's offense should be pretty good. Defenses are put to a test. They do a great job. They play flat, fast, but our kids made the play when it had to be made, and that's the main thing.
Yeah. In the last series there, the last stop, anything in particular you guys did, or
I think Coach Blair just finally got dialed in on something there, and they just the kids just made a stop. I just give Coach Blair and his side of the ball, Coach Smoot, Coach Minner, and Coach Chapman. They just got it done when it had to be done.
Yeah, we talked about how you guys have played each other now 4 times in the past year and a half, basically. Not a lot of secrets, and you guys just traded punches back and forth all night long.
Yeah, we did. We don't have near as much same type of defense that we had out there. Same number of people. We got different names playing, but they just keep playing. They still got Madison Central on their chest, and they do what's expected of them.
Yeah, and Brady with 5 touchdowns again tonight. He had 5 touchdowns against them in the playoffs last year.
Yeah, big nod. We had a lot of people make plays, maybe a few more tonight. Jaden made a big play early, big touchdown pass. Hagan made some plays and things like that.
Yeah, emotions were high out there on both sides too.
Oh yeah. Now when you end, it's over.
Yeah, and now you just got to go back and look at some scores and see where you play next week, right?
Yeah, we have to see where the shuffle is and see where we line up. When this day and world, you don't know who you play till you look at the RPIs.
Yeah. All right. Well, congratulations, man. We'll see you next week.
And now back to Nathan Hutchison at the sports desk.
All right. Well, appreciate Coach talking to us, and we're going to have Brady Hensley here in just a minute to tell us a little bit about the win. But do want to spread the credit around, though. I know he gets the glamour with the headlines with the 5 touchdowns and 323 yards. But the Madison Central defense, it was beat up, it was banged up. They were on the field for 85 plays. They did give up a ton of yards, actually, 581 yards of total offense for Dunbar. But when they had to get it done, the defense rose up and got one last stop. These two teams combined for almost 1,100 yards of total offense. And Madison Central finished at 509 with 400 yards rushing. Dunbar had 453 yards rushing. It was just back and forth all night long, and you kind of got that feeling that whoever had the ball last might win the game. But Madison Central's defense came up big. And after the game, we got a chance to talk to Brady Hensley, Malachi Wood, and Jaden West. All right, we're here at Paul Lawrence Dunbar, where the Indians have picked up a 45-42 win over Paul Lawrence Dunbar, second round of the Class 6A playoffs. Brady Hensley, Malachi Wood, and Jaden West. Congratulations, guys.
Appreciate it.
Man, that was just back and forth all night. You guys, these two teams have played each other 4 times in the last 2 years, and a little animosity, a little hatred there, but good football game back and forth.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Yeah, just talk about playing these guys for the 4th time in 2 years.
Yeah, we play them all the time. They're a good team, well coached. They're really good on both sides of the ball, and they came out and they made us earn it tonight, so they're really good.
Yeah, and Malachi, you guys needed one last stop there, and they gassed you a bunch in the run game, but you guys defensively came up with one last stand. We'll talk about that last series there.
Oh, it was awesome. I mean, getting that sack, and obviously Kendrick, he came in there with me too, getting the sack. I mean, really, he got there first. I just came and fell on top of him, but it was a great stop, great defensive effort tonight, and offense too.
Yeah, and offense, you guys just kept trading blows with him. You had the big 89-yard touchdown catch. Tell us about that, Jaden.
I was just open, you know, so I took advantage of it and took it to the house.
Yeah, I know. We've got to mention Brady. 5 touchdowns. You had 5 touchdowns against them last year in the region championship game, and I think in the 4 games the last 2 years, I think you have like 14 touchdowns against them or something ridiculous like that. So
I don't even know. My guys, they killed it blocking on the inside with the linemen and on the outside too. And Coach Holcomb, he does a great job with calling the plays, so we were able to get after them again tonight.
Yeah, and of course now we have to go back and play the RPI roulette game here and see where you guys play.
Yes, sir. Yep.
And any idea yet, or at this point don't care, just want to get back on that bus and celebrate?
Yeah, that's it. I think it might be Ballard or somebody. It's been one of those schools like that. We'll
probably
be
whoever.
Yeah. Anybody, anywhere, right?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Congratulations. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
And now back to Nathan Hutchison at the sports desk.
All right. What a great night it was up in Lexington for all the Indians fans and for the team as well. But 45-42, moving on to the region championship game. And looking ahead, it's a Ballard team that only has 1 loss on the season. It's been ranked near the top of the Class 6A playoffs all year long. But last week at home against Ryle, they got a challenge, and so Ryle was up for quite a bit of that game. A couple of late defensive touchdowns helped Ballard pick up that win. So you have Madison Central at Ballard, and the winner will move on to the state semifinals next week. And of course, with the RPI and the way this is all set up, who knows where that'll be or who that'll be. So it doesn't matter though. You got to win to keep moving on, and that's basically what it comes down to at this point. So we'll talk obviously some more about the possible matchups and everything heading forward with Brady Hensley here in a minute when we come back after we wrap up the week that was in Madison County sports. Well, football season is still going on, but basketball season has already kicked into high gear, and both the EKU men and women had very busy first weeks of the season, 3 games for each of them. We'll start off with the men on Monday night over at Alumni Coliseum. A 137-52 season opening win over Miami University Middletown. Then on Thursday, a 66-60 loss at home to Western Kentucky. And then on Sunday, an 87-69 loss up in the Queen City to the University of Cincinnati. We'll start off with the home opener there against Miami University Middletown. There was 78 second half points, 7 guys in double figures, and it was John Ukumba, 19 points, Turner Buttry with 19 points, Michael Marino with 18 points, 19 of 40 from three-point range, 58% shooting, rolled to an easy victory over certainly a very overmatched opponent, but good way to open the season with an easy win at home, because things got a heck of a lot tougher on Thursday when the Battle of the Bluegrass was renewed, the 161st all-time meeting between Western Kentucky University and Eastern Kentucky University. And it was EKU up by 5 at the half, pushed that lead out to 8 at one point in the second half. But it was Western Kentucky scoring 30 of the final 45 points of the game to come back and pick up the victory. EKU missed 6 big free throws in the second half, which allowed Western to kind of take that lead and come back and pick up the victories. The Hilltoppers have beaten the Colonels 17 of the last 18 times they've played them. EKU has just 1 win over Western Kentucky since 1987. Cooper Robb, 11 points. Michael Marino, Tay Blanton, Tayshawn Comer, and Deshaun Jackson with 10 points each. And it was the Colonels once again coming up short against their nemesis from up on the hill over in Bowling Green. And the things didn't get any easier on Sunday afternoon up in Cincinnati to take on the Bearcats, and EKU trailed by as much as 23 points in the first half, but did get back within 5 points in the second half as they cranked up the defensive intensity, cranked up their press, hit some threes, but it was a 12-0 run to close it out that helped Cincinnati pick up the win. Tay Blanton, 18 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists. He came up just 3 assists short of what would have been the first ever triple-double in EKU basketball history. Leland Walker with 11 points, and Cooper Robb with 10 points as well. Colonels are off until Friday when they head down to Georgia State to play in a tournament down there. The first game in that one will be on Friday against Georgia State. Playing a bunch of mid-major teams down there, so it should be a good early season measuring stick for a Colonel squad that is talented, but is definitely certainly young as well. 3 freshman guards who are playing a lot of time this year. EKU women, also a busy week for them as well. They played at home on Monday night as well before the men, and it was an 89-81 loss to Evansville. Friday night they bounced back in a big way with a 95-63 win over Appalachian State. And then on Sunday night, as we're filming this right now, they're at Alumni Coliseum taking on Morehead State. So don't have any finals on that, but if you check our social media and stuff, we'll keep you up to date and tell you how that one went. But in the season opening loss to Evansville, EKU was down 29-22 after the first quarter, and they went into halftime down 50-41 and never could quite get back over the hump. 38.9% shooting, 6 of 16 from three-point range. Antoinette Walker with 29 points and 10 rebounds in her first game as a Colonel. Emma Walker, 12 points, and Ariel Kirkwood with 11 points and 15 rebounds. Against Appalachian State, it was Colonels were up 36-24 at the half, and then really put the hammer down in the third quarter. 36 points in the third quarter. That's just 10 minutes. So 36 points in 10 minutes to run away and pick up a big, easy victory over the Mountaineers. Daniela Ramey, 30 points and 5 rebounds. And Walker had 26 points and 11 rebounds. EKU shot 48.4% from the field and was 12 of 28 from three-point range. And, of course, they're playing Morehead State tonight. We'll keep you updated on that if you check out our social media sites and all of that. And Colonels will be back in action Friday against Marist in the MAAC ASUN Dublin Challenge in Ireland. They'll play 2 games over in Ireland Friday and Saturday before returning to the United States. So you didn't make that trip, Randy? You didn't get an invite to Ireland?
No, they forgot. Just got lost in the mail.
You could jump on the plane and fly over there with them. Also, the beginning of the season for the Berea College men and women's basketball teams. We'll start off with the women. They got underway Friday and Saturday down at the Agnes Scott Tip-Off Classic in Decatur, Georgia. And on Friday, it was a 66-45 win over Pfeiffer University. And on Saturday, a 69-54 win over Methodist University. Both these games, it was the third quarter that was the difference. Both these games were very competitive until the fourth quarter. But in those 2 games combined, Berea outscored their opponents 39-19 in the fourth quarter to pull away for a pair of wins. Leah Hampton had 18 points in each of those games. Destiny Combs had 18 points and 9 rebounds against Pfeiffer. Dalen Spalding and Andrea Satora also had 10 points and 4 rebounds against Pfeiffer. And Andrea Satori had 18 points against Methodist, and Destiny Combs had 13 points and 9 rebounds against Methodist. A little bit of time off now for the Lady Mountaineers. They won't be back in action until November the 21st against Swanee. And for the Bree College men, also another busy week, 3 games. Tuesday night at home, a win over Franklin College, 60-58. Thursday, a win at Center College, 64-58. And then on Sunday, a 77-69 loss at home to William Peace. The Franklin College game on Monday night or Tuesday night on election night, they were looking for a big crowd down there, and they did. They had a lot of folks into the Seabury Center, a great atmosphere, and the Mountaineers were able to hold on for a exciting victory. Isaac Caudill with 18 points and 7 rebounds, and Jerome Montgomery with 15 points. And the win over Center College, it was Isaac Caudill with 16 points, Andrew Jones with 14 points, and Trey Minter with 13 points. And in the game against William Peace, which was just earlier today, I was down there for most of that. Maria really kind of in control for most of the game, but they let that lead slip away. And William Peace scored 14 of the final 16 points of the game to come back and pick up the victory. Trey Minter with 26 points, and Isaac Caudill with 16 points. For Berea, falls to 2-1 on the season. Be back in action Wednesday at home against Campbellsville University, Harrodsburg. Moving on to Eastern Kentucky University football, and carried a 3-game winning streak into a matchup with their longtime rival and kind of nemesis, Jacksonville State down in Alabama on Saturday. And a 4th straight win certainly could have put them in a very good spot, probably would have locked up a playoff spot, just in my unexpert opinion right there, but that did not happen. 42-17 Jacksonville State. The Colonels fall to 6-4 on the season, 2-2 in the A-Sun. It was Jacksonville went up 14-0 in the second quarter. It was 21-7 at the half. EKU did get back within 11, 28-17 on a Parker McKinney touchdown run in the third quarter. But Jacksonville State had the final 2 touchdowns of the game to close out the victory. So JSU had 496 total yards, 28 first downs, 341 yards rushing. Really shredded that EKU defense there in the second half. And this really kind of leaves a lot of question marks heading into the final week of the regular season. EKU will play Kennesaw State on Saturday here at Roy Kidd Stadium. Most certainly need a win to keep any hope of a postseason bid alive. But I wish I could give you some more information about how this is going to work, but I'm really not sure. This ASUN WAC combination thing they're doing this year, the automatic qualifier from this makeshift conference will be determined by a power rating they put out every week. I really have no idea how the person that compilates that does that either, to be completely honest with you. EKU was leading that power ranking until this week when they lost. We have not seen the new one yet, but I was looking at a lot of stuff online yesterday, and apparently the AQ won't necessarily go to the team with the top ranking. It depends on who wins each side of the conference. Abilene Christian is 3-0 over in the WAC, whereas Stephen F. Austin is 3-1. Those teams will play next week. On the ASUN side, you've got Central Arkansas at 3-1, Austin P at 3-2, and EKU at 2-2. So Central Arkansas has already claimed at least a share of the ASUN championship. So really have no idea how this is going to play out. All we know is the Colonels need to get a win over Kennesaw State on Saturday at Roy Kidd Stadium. So come out and support the boys. I know it's going to be cold. Bundle up. Come on over and support the guys. And if they get to 7-4, even if they don't get that AQ, it's a pretty strong playoff resume there. They have a win over a ranked team on the road in Southeast Missouri State, and of course they have a win over an FBS team as well, Bowling Green. So we'll have to see what happens, but I wish I could be more insightful for you, but I have no idea what any of that is. Once they get into a real conference with a real thing, then maybe things will be different heading forward. But one last note before we bring on Mr. Brady Hensley. Track and field on Saturday night, we had the Lloyd White Memorial Distance Festival up in Louisville at the University of Bellarmine University. And can't we just say this every week? Kiara O'Shea broke a record. I mean, it's yeah. Madison Central senior Kiara O'Shea posted a time of 10:02 in the 3,200 meter run, smashing her own state record by 15 seconds. So a lot of other Madison Central athletes were in that too, did really well. I had PRs, and we'll have that information up at richmondregister.com this evening. But Kiera O'Shea, another week, another record, another amazing thing done by an amazing young lady. So that's awesome. But once again, the fastest time ever run, 3,200 meter time ever run by a female athlete, female high school athlete in Kentucky State history. So we can just say that every week, I think, right? We just
Continue to kiss herself.
yeah, pretty much. And that's amazing too, considering not only the time. Her mother told me obviously it was cold Saturday night, and she said it was even kind of sleeting and a little freezing drizzle, and it was just miserable. And for her to go out there and do that, it's just, once again, it's just incredible. But we're not surprised by anything she does anymore. So there you go. So looking forward, we got lots of high school basketball is still a couple of weeks away, but we got lots of college basketball this week, and college football and all kinds of good stuff. So as always, we'll keep you updated on all that on richmondregister.com and all of our social media sites, and our nightly show, Madison County Sports Night Live. So tune in every night and we'll keep you updated on what's going on. So we're going to take a break and we'll be right back with Brady Hensley.
The Richmond Register Sports Show is brought to you by MetroNet, superfast internet, simply a better connection. Total Comfort, heating and air conditioning. Let Total Comfort keep you cool or warm this winter. Call for service or for a free replacement quote. Wynn's Auto Detailing Service. And by kymedia.net, digital media solutions on your terms.
My name is Randino here with IHOP and Partner Destination Athlete, presenting Rylan Rhodes with his Pancake Block of the Week with his game against Henry Clay. Here's your t-shirt. You get 52 weeks of free pancakes and your IHOP gift card.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
And now back to Nathan Hutchison at the sports desk.
All right, welcome back. We are joined by the only player in Madison Central football history to have 300 or more rushing yards in a game, and he's done it twice. That's Brady Hensley. Congratulations,
Yes,
Brady.
sir.
323 yards Friday night in the big win over Dunbar. And you guys are heading on to the region final for the third time in 5 years.
Yes, sir. I'm excited. I'm very excited.
Yeah, and every time I talk to you, you always are so gracious when we talk, we do the interview. The first thing you always do is praise your offensive line, so go ahead, man. I mean,
Yeah, they do a great job with all the blocking schemes they do. It gets kind of complicated. I'm not going to lie. When I hear Coach talking to them, I get confused, but they got to do a lot of double teams and stuff, but they do really good with it. We got Big Mal up there, and Rylan, and Hayari, and Aiden, and Irma. It's our left guard. They do a great job. They're really physical, and they're really smart.
Yeah, because you always tell me, I couldn't get 1 yard if it wasn't for those guys.
Yep,
so.
that's right. That's right.
So he's always very, very gracious toward the offensive line. You got to take care of those guys.
Yeah, I love those guys. They protect me.
If they don't take care of you, then you're in trouble back there.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
true.
Well, the game on Friday night, I guess I don't want to say a revenge game, maybe a little chip on your shoulder, because the game over here in Richmond earlier was the game you hurt your ankle.
Yeah.
A guy got you guys early in the game, right? Someone got you
first
very
play.
early.
First play.
Yeah.
First play on offense, yep. He got my ankle.
Yeah, you were able to battle through it, and still you came up with the game with a late touchdown and then the 2-point conversion. But it kept you out for a few weeks after that.
It did, yeah. He got my ankle good, but I was excited to get back out there and play. And after a while, I didn't even think about it. I was out there playing football.
Yeah, but it was bad enough to keep you out of the lineup for a while. Because kind of what was the rehab on that? And,
it was just high ankle sprain. I had to do a lot of resting, and then when I started being able to get back out and run and play, I had to get my conditioning back. Mm-hmm. So that was a big part of it when we played Oldham and GRC, just trying to get my conditioning back and then getting back in the flow of things too.
Yeah, I think we saw definitely by the Henry Clay game 2 weeks ago, you looked like you were your old self again.
Yep, yes sir. I felt better. We were getting a lot of big holes up front, and we got back after it.
Yeah, I think my favorite memory from that game for you though was the touchdown catch. Have you ever been more open in your life on that play? You came across the middle and there wasn't like anybody within 20 yards of you.
I know. Well, I lined up at tackle.
Yeah.
We moved one of our linemen all the way over, split him out, and then moved Mal down, and I hid behind Mal at tackle, and they didn't see me. And I heard one of the coaches yelling, "Find the tight end!" And they couldn't find me. I just snuck out there.
Yeah, you were just right in the middle of the field. You were just standing there wide open.
It was. Yep, I was.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Mal. We were just talking off camera. He, after one of your 5 touchdowns on Friday night, he lifted you up. And I think if that young man lifted me up, I would be scared to death because you're way up there.
Oh, yeah.
Malachi
really
Wood lifts you up, you're way up there.
Yeah, I was telling him to put me down. I was grabbing his shoulder pads. I was like, put me down, put me down. I was scared.
Well, let's go back and talk a little bit more about your offensive line, because those guys have had some injuries. Some guys have had to move around, some different guys in there. So they've done a great job getting. Ryland's been in and out of the lineup. You've had to move some other guys around.
Yes,
so let's talk a bit more about those guys and kind of what the season's been like for them.
They've had to do a lot. They play a lot of offensive line, and they got to turn around and play a lot of defensive line. So they got to know a whole lot, and their conditioning has shocked me a lot. They've been able to do it all year both ways, and that's hard playing offensive defensive line where you're chasing the ball on the D line, trying to block those guys on the offensive line. But they've done great. I know we've been banged up a lot out there. I know Ryland hurt his shoulder and some stuff like that, but they're tough. So they should all be back hopefully next week. But we're worried about. One guy I'm worried about is Max with his concussion. So I hope we get him back, and then we'll have all 5 of our starting guys from the beginning of the year back.
Yeah, it's been kind of they had to kind of rotate some people in there and do some different things, but they keep coming.
Yeah, they've done good. The guys that have rotated in there have done really good.
Yeah. And of course, here you guys are in the region final for the, like I said, 3rd time in 5 years. But of course, you had those 2 bad losses at the end of the season. But just kind of like last season, the same thing happened there. You guys were able to kind of shake that off, say forget about it.
Yep.
Doesn't matter. Let's keep going. And it's once you hit the playoffs, it's 0-0 and you start over again.
Yes, sir. It's kind of good to get those losses too, get a little bit of a reality check, and you get to work on things like if we have never gotten beat by Station, we might not ever put in the I formation and some stuff like that. So we saw what we need to work on, got better at, and added some stuff. So it's helped us out a lot.
Yeah. So in the 4 games against Dunbar in your career, 16 touchdowns, 5 touchdowns twice.
Yeah.
Your dad was the coach there. I mean,
yeah.
A long time ago when you were just a little bitty guy.
Yeah.
So some kind of some kind of weird, like this kind of coincidence, I guess, that you do so well against the. He's been head coach other places, head coach at East Jessamine too, some other places as well. So
I guess I always like running against those guys. They're really good. They're good. I know they may not look good because of that, but they're a well coached team. I know their coach over there. He's a really good dude. And we were just able to get after him, so we did a good job with that.
Yeah, Wes Johnson, who was when your dad was the head coach at East Jessamine, Wes was the head coach at West Jessamine. So,
he's a good dude. He's a good coach.
I was over there back in those days, but like I said, you probably weren't even born then, were you?
Yeah,
because about 2000.
When I was born, he left East Jessamine.
Yeah.
So
that was long before that. So a long time ago. So
it was a very long time ago.
Well, that's the 4th time you guys have played those guys in a little bit over 400 days, and it got a little personal out there. We can't say everything we heard out there, but I guess you just play somebody that many times in that close a period of time, and 2 of them were playoff games. You know, a season on the line, and it got personal. It got nasty. I don't think kind of some chirping. Nobody did any cheap shots or anything like that, but it definitely was intense out there.
Yeah, that's just football. When you get out and you play, especially when you play a team a lot, it becomes like kind of personal. It's like a little rivalry, and where we have got them so much, and they were close last time to getting us. Yeah. But they had a little bit of chip on their shoulder probably to get after us, and I was excited to get to play them that last time because I didn't get to play them much that first time, but it was fun. It's just football. So
yeah, and especially defenses, they kind of yap at everybody on offense, or what do people say to try to throw you and Hagen off and just the rest of the offense off?
Man, I hear all kinds of stuff. I just hear
keep it PG though. Keep it PG though.
Yeah. One thing I heard was one of their players said that Malachi was deformed.
Okay.
But it's just random stuff like that. Yeah. Most of the time they don't say anything too bad. So
yeah.
I'm too out of breath to talk back most of the time after I just ran one. I'm huffing and puffing just hearing what they say, walking back to the huddle.
Yeah. Well, one thing that's always amazed me about you is it seems like nobody ever gets you on the first hit. I mean, you have that ability to bounce off people and you may get hit right at the line or right after the line, but you just keep those feet churning and kind of. What do you just attribute that to? Is that just upper body strength or leg strength, or kind of what's the secret there? Because it seems like it takes 3 or 4 guys to get you down every time they hand you the ball.
A lot of it's the weight room, but I pride myself on my vision. I try to never let those guys hit me straight on. Mm-hmm. So I just try to get them like where they can only hit my arm, my shoulder, and then try to fall forward for 2 or 3 more yards if I can.
Yeah, you take a lot of contact though.
Yeah.
I mean, you're pretty banged up a day or 2 after the games, or you bounce back pretty. I mean, obviously you're still young, so you
not too bad. But I've gotten used to it. Like last year, I got more beat up, but this year I matured more. Went to the weight room, got in the weight room, stuff like that, and got bigger. So it don't affect me as bad. And I've learned to run lower behind my shoulder pads, so take more hits on my shoulders than right through here on my ribs and stuff. So I've learned a lot, and I've gotten better at it.
You've shown us some amazing moves over the last couple of years, but I don't know that any of them matched the 5th touchdown on Friday night.
Oh, yeah.
You had 2 slides, to the left on that? You went in.
You talking about the one where I went to the right?
You like slid around, like you did 2 Two fakes, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I went right and then cut back and then cut back again.
Yeah, so it's two to the left, right? So you kind of went and then went again, and you went through two guys, right?
You know what? I'll contribute that to playing Just Dance with my sisters when I was little, learning all them dance moves. That's where I got my wiggle from.
There you go. I was wondering about that. See, that's where it is.
Yep.
But see, it always seems so simple. People look at a stat sheet and they go, "The same guy ran the ball 35 times. How can he get 300 and something yards?" But it's about it's about scheming, it's about blocking, and it's about the.
There's a whole lot that goes into it. Yep.
Yeah, and like I said, we got to spread the credit around. You get your receivers are blocking for you. When Jaden's not making catches, he's blocking. When back when Travis was in there, obviously he's not right now, but those guys are blocking for you too. So it's not just as simple as here, hand it to Brady and he just runs forward and
they
picks
do
up 10 or 15 yards.
They do a really good job. I just don't want to credit my linemen. When they start off the game pretty physical, so it kind of I hope it intimidates those guys a little bit, where they're kind of catching those guys like Malachi when they're blocking them, and it opens up all those lanes for me.
Yeah, and you don't always run behind Malachi. I know some people realize he just runs behind Malachi every time. Everybody could pick up 300 yards when he runs against Malachi, but you don't. They switch you around. They even switch Malachi off on different sides. I saw that a lot Friday night where they were moving him to the other side and kind of doing that. But
we had to do some of that because our right tackle was out. Yeah. And the other guy that came in, I don't even think he had ever played tackle before. So he had played Jonathan Pope. He played a lot of guard. So we had to move Malachi back and forth, and we had to huddle a lot more to tell him what to do. So it was just kind of an on-the-fly decision.
Yeah, and still end up with 300 and something yards rushing for the team. And it helps when you have a quarterback who can run too, right?
He always helps me out because we after I run a couple times, we'll either throw it deep to Jaden or we'll try to run him on some counters and some stuff like that, and even some sweeps. Which it helps when he runs it because he gets an extra blocker, because he don't have to hand it off or anything. We just catch it and run around the end and get a lot of yards. So.
Man, he's tough, man. He takes a lot of hits back there.
Yeah, he's fast. He's really fast.
Yeah,
he's a good athlete.
I'm sure Alan Feldhouse every time he runs, he's like, "Oh no!"
Holding his breath. No, he's a really good basketball player too.
All right, well, I know you guys, it's only Sunday. You really haven't started the prep for Ballard yet. We were just looking at some stats. I know you said you were already looking at film. Kind of tell us what you know. I mean, I know it's you'll do a lot more the coming days with the team and everything, but kind of give us a little thumbnail so far.
Yeah, they're really good defensively from what I saw. They try to put a lot of people up in the box, stuff a run, and then they just get after. They fly around to the ball really good. And then offensively, they just run around and make plays from what I've seen. And Coach Blair, he'll get a good scheme up against those guys defensively, and then Coach Holcomb and my dad, some of them will try to scheme up something for us offensively, and I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, you were watching the Ryle tape, and Ryle was up on them early.
Yeah, they were up on them all the way to the fourth quarter. It was like 14-13, and then Ballard had 2 defensive touchdowns, which broke the game open for them. They ended up winning 26-14.
Yeah, and you guys have been here before. You went up to Louisville last year to play one of those power Louisville teams in the state semifinals. This moment's not going to be too big for you guys. You guys aren't going to be intimidated by this. You're going to go up there, and I mean, that game last year, you guys go up there, and we're leading.
Yeah, we were up 21-7. I wish we could have won that one, but that was a big learning moment, I guess. And like when you play at Central and you hear about Trinity and Mayo and St. X, everybody puts those guys on a pedestal. So when you go up there and actually play them and play good against a team like that, it definitely builds a lot of confidence. So we're going to have a lot of confidence going into this one.
Yeah, and it could win that game. You could possibly. I know you guys would love to get Station again.
Yeah.
Of course, they've got to beat Trinity,
yeah.
though. You could see those guys again.
Yeah, I don't think we'd see them till state, but I definitely like to play them. I just want to win this thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't the RPI thing crazy, though?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, I was earlier, like, Lexington Catholic beat Boyle County.
Mm-hmm.
But Boyle County finishes with a higher RPI, so the region final next week is at Lexington Catholic has to go to Boyle County. Isn't that?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Absolutely crazy. They seem like they change it every year. So just KHSA is just keeping us on our toes.
Keeping everybody on their toes.
All that matters is you win and you advance, and the Indians keep doing that back into the region championship game. Appreciate you coming by, man.
Thank you.
It's a lot of fun to watch, and we'll see what happens on Saturday. Everybody, if you're going up there, bundle up. We were just talking about probably in the 20s by kickoff on next Friday. So bring out the long underwear and the thermals and everything.
Bundle up.
What can you guys do in though? I mean, you can only do so much, right?
Not much. At running back, I can hit a lot, and it warms me up. So after a few carries, I'll be feeling good.
Just run faster. That'll keep you warm. So, all right, man. Appreciate you coming in. Good luck to you and the guys on Friday up in Louisville. So that'll wrap up this week's edition of the Richmond Register Sports Show. We're back next week with a whole new episode, 9 o'clock on Sunday evenings. And, of course, Richmond Register has, we're all over social media, Richmond R Sports on Twitter, Register Sports on Facebook, richmondregister.com, all that stuff. You know where to find us. We've been doing this a long time. He's one of our best followers on social media. So we'll see you guys next time.
The Richmond Register Sports Show is brought to you by MetroNet, super fast internet, simply a better connection. Total Comfort, heating and air conditioning. Let Total Comfort keep you cool or warm this winter. Call for service or for a free replacement quote.
Wynn's Auto Detailing Service.
And by kymedia.net, digital media solutions on your terms. Thanks for watching the Richmond Register Sports Show. For more information about all things sports in Madison County, log on to richmondregister.com or on Twitter. And like us, Register Sports on Facebook. Get the Richmond Register directly to your mailbox or get the app online and visit richmondregister.com.